Hi, I'm John Longstreet, here with another edition of It Happened This Week, which, not surprisingly, is still focused on the dreaded COVID-19 crisis. Today, I'm coming to you from Madison, Ohio. Ohio is one of many states that opened early and now faces the difficult task of reinstating restrictions and partial closures in certain counties across the state. Ohio also has adopted a color code system and recently announced 7 counties are now in their red phase. As I close today's video, I'll share my thoughts on this phenomenon, but in the meantime, let's get to the news. In light of the increased COVID-19 case counts this week across Pennsylvania, and particularly in Philadelphia, coronavirus safe business operating standards enforcement was increased. While the vast majority of restaurants are trying to do the right thing to keep employees and guests safe, some are not following safe guidelines. PRLA is supportive of tougher enforcement directed at these so-called bad actors, because that's the best way to keep the rest of the restaurant industry open. The Paycheck Protection Program resumed accepting applications at 9 a.m. on July 6th in response to the Paycheck Protection Program Extension Act. The new deadline to apply for a PPP is August 8, 2020. You can find additional information about applying for a loan on the PRLA coronavirus web page. And of note is that the use of funds requirements has been relaxed during this phase of the program. This week, the American Hotel and Lodging Association launched COVID-19 Precautions for Hotels, an online course created to help hotels train their staffs on safety and cleanliness guidelines. Information on this important training is also available on our website. On Wednesday evening, Allegheny County Health Director Dr. Deborah Bogan announced that restaurants in Allegheny County would be permitted to reopen for outdoor dining today. In discussions over last weekend, PRLA worked with the county on this request and other actions to help restaurants survive in this troubled time. We thank Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald for collaborating with us on this effort and his recognition that restaurants need a lifeline. On the subject of erroneous news of the week, on Wednesday evening, it was heavily reported around Pittsburgh that restaurants in several counties surrounding Allegheny County would be shut down. Apparently, those reports were either premature or just wrong, in that no action was ever taken. The reports did cause considerable angst at a time when we certainly do not need it, though. As restaurants, hotels, and our travel and tourism partners struggle for survival and fight to keep providing paychecks for their employees, many of whom are like family, PRLA is doing everything sensible within its powers to assist. Each of the PRLA team members communicates with scores of desperate operators each week. And I understand that desperation sometimes leads to desperate action or desperate thinking. There are a lot of things we do not know about this virus and the resulting pandemic, but there are 3 truths that we know. First and foremost, we are in the midst of a worldwide health crisis and a declared state of emergency in the United States and Pennsylvania. During these times, the chief executive, Governor Wolf in the case of Pennsylvania, along with Secretary of Health Levine, have unilateral authority to manage the state of emergency. This has been held up several times in the courts, including the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Recognizing this truth, PRLA has endeavored to work with the governor in an effort to keep employees and guests safe, to reopen restaurants and to keep them open. We are thankful for the spirit of collaboration that the governor and his team have demonstrated. We have established a similar relationship with Allegheny County, where the health director has a unilateral authority to manage this health crisis. We're attempting to do so in Philadelphia also. All evidence tells us that the second truth is, as much as I hate to say it, that this crisis is far from over. Case counts climb, deaths continue to mount. Mitigating efforts are not having the positive effect that was anticipated. In most cases, it's because people are not paying attention to the guidelines. States across the country are placing more restrictions on operations, particularly in the restaurant industry. And in many places like Allegheny County, closures, at least for indoor dining, are taking place. The third truth is that a new way of looking at the restaurant business will likely be essential for survival. Since this crisis began, countless restaurant operators have developed new and creative ways to keep some cash flow, like outdoor dining, takeout, delivery, drinks to go, expanded outdoor premises, grocery-type operations, family and meal kits, virtual wine pairing dinners, and the list goes on and on. Clearly, to make it to the other side of this, these kinds of creative measures will be essential. Hospitality people, restaurant people are tough. We couldn't be in this business if we weren't. They're resilient. To be sure, this crisis is testing that resiliency as it's never been tested before, but many of us will get to the other side. And while back to normal may not be a realistic goal, we will adapt and find a way to thrive in the so-called new normal. I'm John Longstreet with another edition of the It Happened This Week, and I'll see you again next week.